Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Faciano. Today is Wednesday. It's my episode that I call Sip It or Skip It. If you are not new to the channel, you realize something is a little bit different than this episode. I spun the wheel, and when I held it up, a whole bunch of text messages came in, and then when I went to edit the video, a whole bunch of stuff happened. So I don't respin the wheel. So what I get, I got. And I got Wyoming Whiskey, a single barrel. So if you are new here and you don't know what's going on, I have all of my whiskeys randomized on the phone. There's an app. I think you can get it both in Android and iOS. It's just called the Spin the Wheel app, Random Picker. So I have all of my whiskeys randomized on here. I spun the wheel, Wyoming Whiskey Single Barrel popped up. I'm going to give it a review and then let you know if I'm going to replace the bottle when it's gone because I like it. So it's a sip. Or once the bottle's gone, I'm going to skip buying it again and move on to something else. So take two. This is a wheated bourbon. When I first originally did this in my single barrel reviews, I liked this quite a bit. I had to take a look because after I did all of the editing, I went in and looked, and for sure I did a single barrel episode of this. I think maybe 11 months ago, not exactly positive on the exact date, but I rated this a 3.95. It was pretty high in the single barrels. I think it was 3.95. So I've had this since, and I got to tell you, it has gone downhill. I'm not sure exactly why, but I want to get into it again today. Take a look at it, dissect it a little bit more than usual in a sip or skip episode, just because now this is my second time at it today. It's a really dark bourbon, and it's a wheated bourbon, and it's a single barrel. My complaint in my original review was the low proof. And also, being a single barrel, they do these single barrel releases once a year, I do believe, and I can't figure out how to pinpoint which year of their single barrels they have. If you know, let me know in the comments down below. So again, single barrel, very dark. There is an astringent note that I am starting to get within Wyoming whiskeys. I've done a sip or skip on the regular single barrel, the regular small batch bourbon. I have yet to do the double cask review. I actually picked this bottle up, the double cask in Casper. John and I, my brother-in-law, went up to Casper and did a KCBS barbecue event, and we stopped into one of the local liquor stores, and I picked that bottle up, and we had it while we were there doing the competition. So the astringent note that I get might be a crafty note, and it's starting to become dominant in all of the Wyoming whiskeys that I have. There is a really good backbone of those traditional bourbon notes that you get, caramel, brown sugar, and honey, which honey is not something that I typically get in a lot of bourbons, but the honey note is coming out in this. And each time I smell it, I cannot get past that ethanol astringent note, which to me comes across, or the best way that I can describe it would be an earthy barnyard kind of, not necessarily ammonia, but there is a certain amount of ethanol or acetone that's coming out of the glass. Now, if it's way over the top, it's a really bad thing. I'm saying that this is getting to the point where it's reaching an overabundance of ethanol or acetone, which is weird because this is such a low proof, 48% ABV or 96 proof. And this is also something that I mentioned in my first take of this. Single barrels are typically higher proof, either at cask strength or barrel proof. Let me know in the comments down below if you have a single barrel that is barreled at a lower proof, because I just find it strange that a single barrel from a craft distiller would have such a low proof, unless that's actually kind of where they bottled it at. I mean, straight from the cask. It doesn't say anything on the label about that. So I'm giving this a little bit of time. I'm kind of delaying this. I would like to have it open up a little bit more. I realized at the end of my first time shooting this, the longer it sat in the glass, it changed a little bit. So I'm hoping that the same thing happens here. So let me go and get back to the nose on this. Because of the wheated mash bill, I'm not getting that traditional, oh, you know what? I think the Monday video that just came out prior to this one was the sweet wheat. This is falling into the same category. It's not your traditional smelling wheated bourbon. I usually get a buttered roll, butter wheat roll kind of note, and I'm not getting that here. It's sweet vanilla. I think there's a pretty good amount of barrel influence in here. And again, that hearty backbone of brown sugar, vanilla, and caramel with a slight touch of honey. Absent from the glass are the red fruits like a cherry or a red apple. Overall pleasant, but not overwhelmingly good. All right, let's go ahead and get on the palate, see if that acetone, earthy barnyard note has gone away. Yeah, this holds true from my first review as well. The palate on this is much better than the nose. The burst of vanilla, oak, brown sugar, fruity note. There is a good amount of sweetness in here. Now the cherry note is coming through. Throw in mixed berries as well. Absolutely amazing on the palate. I would not say that this matches the nose. If you were just to simply give this a rating on the nose, it wouldn't do very well. This shines on the palate and definitely on the finish. The finish is lingering. I've had a couple of sips already. I've shot back-to-back videos. I have a good warming in the chest, and the saturation of the flavors really sinks in underneath the palate or underneath the tongue. It's a well-rounded, rich, saturating finish. I really do enjoy this more on the palate than the nose. But the ethanol note is coming through in a weird way that detracts from the overall experience a little bit. So let me get that second sip in. Breathing in, there's a lot of cherry, a lot of vanilla now. Really like how much oak tannin is on the side of the tongue without going overboard. And again, when this hits the back of the palate, all of those saturating notes just sink in to the mouth, to the back of the throat, underneath the tongue. Yeah, I really do like this quite a bit. Let me know in the comments down below if you have had any of the releases from Wyoming Whiskey. What do you think about it? Do you see these in your area? Where is your area? And what are you paying for them? I know a single barrel release from maybe like a craft distiller, you are gonna pay a little bit more, $100 plus. Do you think it's worth it or not? All right, as this is sitting on the palate, again, that finish is really long. The vanilla notes, the lighter fruit notes, maybe the cherry, maybe a little bit of red apple is creeping in a little bit, but I do like the vanilla and the honey notes, and the barrel influence is definitely there with the tannin on the side. So is this going to be a sip or a skip? I do believe the Wyoming small batch was a skip. I have yet to either review the double cask as a sip or a skip episode or just a normal review. The single barrel has shown enough to me to make this borderline sip. It's 5 years of age. It's a wheated bourbon. It's their own distillate. They're not sourcing from anybody. I like their story. I like where they're coming from. I like what they stand for. And because of all of that, as far as a borderline sip, I think that is going to push me over into the definite sip category. Once this bottle is gone, once this single barrel is gone and another one comes out, I'm going to be looking to pick up another one. In fact, before this bottle runs out, I would like to pick up another single barrel and do a comparison. Yeah, so based on everything that I've said so far and going through this review now twice, the more I'm sipping on this, the more I'm liking it, it's going to stay in the sip category. What do you think? Leave me some comments down below. Also, I do have a January giveaway happening, so if you're interested in supporting the channel, please read through the rules in the description below. Also, in 2025, I have a new partner for the channel, Whiskey. Got new Whiskey glasses. They contacted me for an affiliate link. If you're looking for barware or glassware, there is a link in the description below. If you purchase anything through that link, I get a little bit of a commission. That's where I'm going to leave it. I know it was a rambling video a little bit, but I needed to give this a little bit more time in the glass. So wherever you are at in your journey, I hope you're enjoying it, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye.